Line is struck early.
It's not like they haven't had their chances in this hockey game so far. And as we talked about, the big line with the soft hands, Lindros actually a right-hand shot on the left wing. Makes a good play right there, and you see Bukaboom. No, I'm sorry, that's Karpotsov. He makes the move on Karpotsov. Perfect backhand pass right on the tape to Renberg. Man, Renberg's not going to make any mistake on that one. Karpotsov got caught looking at the puck, and there was also a little interference there. Leclerc came over that way as well to help out, and Karpotsov got caught with his one foot going across the other. No mistake, great pass though, and Renberg, they're not going to miss that one. That's a no-brainer right there, one-timer.
Darren Leclerc almost acting like a basketball player, setting a pick on that play, and that left Renberg wide open. All right, so it's 1-0 Philadelphia early. Nick Kimball for the Rangers dumps down behind the Flyer net. Dominic Roussel has not had to face an official shot on goal yet tonight. And we played about 3.5 minutes to the first. Yannick Dupre behind the New York net, and a whistle is called as it's scooped up by Richter. Michael Renberg has the Flyers on the board early.
Welcome back to Madison Square Garden. Eric Lindros and the big line making it happen. Pass from their own zone. Renberg all the way across the ice to Lindros. Now watch number 10 Leclerc come across. Karpotsov got caught, but there's a little interference there. Perfect play, perfect setup. Then Renberg makes no mistake in tapping home that 13th goal of the season. Good solid play though by Leclerc and coming across and helping out his lineman.
And the assist on that Renberg goal to Lindros and Gary Galley. Here's a shot from the point. Another score for Philadelphia. I believe it's Anatoly Semenov in front. Shot was taken from the point by Kevin Haller. And it's a quiet Madison Square Garden as the Flyers take a 2-0 lead.
Semenov just acquired from the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. He was a big part of that program over there for Milos Holan. 7 points with the Ducks, but look what happens when you get yourself a rebound. Look at that. He just got himself in a position where after the rebound came out on Richter, Semenov anticipated that, skated out towards where the puck was going, and all he had after that was a little wraparound backhander right into the wide open side of the net. So the fourth goal for Semenov, number 44 for the Philadelphia Flyers, and all of a sudden things are pretty quiet here.
Semenov, of course, played 11 years with those great Moscow Dynamo teams and came in that trade from Anaheim for Milos Holan. Semenov, of course, getting a little bit long in the tooth, but all the Flyers told me this morning he's still got some legs, and he gets his first goal as a Philadelphia Flyer. Some of this crowd here at Madison Square Garden has yet to find their seats, and their heroes are down by 2 goals already. And a high sticking call by Don Koharski. Is that going to be on Philadelphia?
Well, Joey Kosher's near his New York Ranger bench, just to the right from our vantage point of Glenn Healy, and I think it's Kosher that's going to go over to the penalty box, so Philadelphia would get their second power play opportunity. And yes, Kosher's going off, and Don Koharski makes the call. Now, Kosher trying to maybe stir it up a little bit on the side, outlet pass, and you see Haller coming over there, and I mean, from that vantage point, there's not a whole heck of a lot there, except that Haller's stick was coming up, and all Kosher did was leave his stick right there. Haller sort of just went right into it. Nonetheless, though, Philly's got themselves another power play. They've already had one in this game.
That's a tough call from the Rangers' standpoint. Koharski doesn't have the benefit of replay like we do. All right, the Rangers shorthanded again. Leach clears it to Graves at center. Up to Messier. Mark Messier trying to leave it for Leach. But the Flyers with the extra attacker. Renberg back checking well. Michael Renberg over the line. Saw it pass. The shot. Lindros, he scores. It's 3-0 Philadelphia. Here they go again.
I wonder if that third period in the last game here on March 3rd, I wonder if that set a tone for this contest here, because this line really lit it up in the third period and dominated play. Renberg, number 19, again going across ice. Look at how quickly Eric Lindros got rid of that puck. I mean, kids out there, you don't need the huge wind-up, and of course, when you have the strength of Lindros, that makes up for a lot. But look how quickly his stick comes up, bang, and he just lets her rip through the stick side of Mike Richter, who was out far enough. Came out challenging from left to right. Lindros on fire. Now he's got a 10-game point-scoring streak, and he's just slipped into second place all alone in the NHL scoring race.
Ron Hextall told me this morning, I said, what makes that Lindros-Leclerc-Renberg line so good? He says they're the best line in hockey because they're all big, they all shoot the puck hard, and they all have the same style of play. When you think about that, that's quite a combination. As the whistle stops play with 15-20 first. I believe it's icing against the New York Rangers. And Messier and Graves and company have some work to do. The official on that third goal, Lindros from Renberg on the power play.
Again, you know, the big windup sometimes isn't necessary. This pass from Renberg was a little bit on edge, but Lindros just stopped it, was very quick in releasing it. And by doing so, that catches Richter, who's got to move very quickly from left to right. It catches everybody off guard. The minute you have that big high windup is the time that a defenseman blocks the shot and it goes up 30 rows into the stands. Great shot by Lindros.
Lindros did not practice this morning, and I was told that he hasn't practiced the last 4 morning skates before Philadelphia games. Obviously, the lack of morning workouts is not hurting him. Play back on this time in the Philadelphia zone. Behind the Flyer net, Roussel has yet to face a shot on goal in this game from the New York Rangers. And Featherstone dumps in, but the Flyers dump out immediately. Richter lets it go to the corner. Jay Wells winds up with it in his own zone. Tough cross-ice pass off the boards to no one except Chris Therien of Philadelphia. Wells again deep in his own zone. Intended for Messier, too far ahead, and this will be icing on the Rangers, and the Blues cascading down from all levels. And
here we go.
Messier and who? That's
Haller.
Yeah.
Hey, if there's one way to light up that white bench, this is it right here. When does Mark Messier drop the mitts like he's doing right now?
Rarely. Is this a 10-point must system on this one, Darren?
That's it. That's what you know. That's what gets everybody going here. Mark Messier, 34 years of age, doesn't have to do this stuff anymore. That tells you a lot, and it tells Colin Campbell a lot. And for Colin Campbell, he's hoping his bench realizes what just happened there. Mark Messier making a huge stand. A big stand, down 3-0 in this real pivotal game, real strong game. The pride factor of the wily old veteran, Mark Messier, owner of 6 Stanley Cups, in front of Dominic Roussel. Look at Messier the whole way. He wanted something going on, and look at that Haller's stick. They both had their sticks up a little bit, but they both knew what they were getting themselves into. Clearly, Messier wants to make a stand here, and as I said, I can't for the life of me recall the last time Mark Messier dropped his mitts. His reputation has been of a power forward and a guy that intimidates and throws the elbows, knocks people on their can a lot. But actually dropping the mitts, it hasn't happened in some time.
And you know, Terry Murray behind the Flyer bench has to admire that kind of statement from that kind of player. It wasn't Kosar, it wasn't Featherstone. Murray looks out there and sees the Ranger captain delivering a calling card. He knows this game is a long way from over. Interested
to see how the New York Rangers are going to gain momentum or any kind of something out of this. The emotion, probably the biggest thing. That's what they're looking for from the white jersey.
After that fighting penalty to both Haller and Messier, the face-off in the Ranger end. And here comes New York's Alexei Kovalev at center. Rangers trailing 3-0 early in this first period tonight on the Deuce. Steinkaus back behind his own net. Still no shots on goal for the Rangers tonight at home. Lindros beats Leach to the puck, or did he? No, whistle stops play. Let's check in with Kenny Mayne.
All right, Pittsburgh and Montreal. Pittsburgh gets something going right here. It's Martin Straka with the puck, passes. Luke Robitaille shoots, he scores. Pittsburgh's good. They're up 1-0. Back to you guys.
Yeah, Kenny, the master of understatement. Darren, did you know that Pittsburgh is good?
I love that stuff. You know, this isn't brain surgery. You're right about that, Ken. I mean, they are good. 18-6-2, 38 points. It's a heck of a division right there. That is one heck of a... Look at the Montreal Canadiens. They're trailing Hartford for that final playoff spot as we speak.
And we'll have the Montreal Canadiens on the Deuce Saturday night against the Nordiques de Quebec. The uncivil war on ice. More on that later. Karpatsev behind his own net. Rangers trying to get something going after Messier lit up the crowd with that fighting penalty. Puck comes back to center to Karpatsev. Pass intended for Peter Nedved over his stick was never touched up, and icing will be the call of the New York Rangers.
We said in the opening, Steve Larmer celebrated his 1,000th point. He had a goal and 3 assists in the game against New Jersey, becoming just that 43rd player to pass that 1,000th mark. You know Steve Larmer, what kind of guy he is? You think he picked up that puck? Had no idea. Didn't pick up the puck. Brian Noonan raced back and told the referee, hey guys, this is a pretty important puck. I'm going to give it to Larms. And so Steve Larmer did receive that puck. He was asked if he collected things like that. Larm says, yeah, you know, I've got a Wayne Gretzky stick somewhere. It's in my garage back home or something like that. I mean, he's not unappreciative of a great Wayne Gretzky stick. It's just Steve Larmer, and it's something that I think when he retires from the game of hockey, he'll think of what kind of career he has had and how many great friends he's made along the way.
Now that graphic, and that's really illustrative of how the game has gone tonight. Philadelphia's had all the scoring chances. The Rangers yet to have a shot on goal. Another icing coming up here. And Philadelphia has buried 3 of those 5 scoring chances. Now the icing was waved off.
Went through the crease.
Just must have gotten part of the puck through there. It was awfully close. And play goes on. Terrien, his shot. Piece of it gotten there by Brian Leach. John LeClaire trying to center the puck. Hits traffic to the side of the goal. Right along the boards in the Ranger end. Comes loose for Richter. Jeff Okaboom plays it off the boards to center. Yuskevich back for the Flyers. Lindros almost broke in one-on-one with Leach. Now it's Kiprios on the right wing. Has it taken away from him and stolen back by Kovalev. Jay Wells pounds it behind the Flyer net. Kiprios keeps it in. Graves goes to the corner with Galley. John LeClaire to center for Philly. Kovalev can't control, but Graves does. Here's a big shot by Featherstone. Almost fooled Roussel. That's the first shot on goal. It was a bit of a knuckleball. Again, Tender's flare in the corner. Chris Terrien for Philadelphia and Kiprios of the Rangers. I believe it's Terrien, number 6.
Terrien, 6'4", 230 pounds, just a youngster out of Ottawa, Ontario, Canada.
That's Antosky. I'm sorry.
That makes a big difference right there. Sean Antosky, acquired from the Vancouver Canucks for Joseph Baranek. And the Rangers are trying to stir things up. Back in a moment, trailing 3-0.
Face off to the left of Dominic Roussel. The Rangers desperately trying to get back into this one, trailing 3-0. Long ways to go tonight. Here's Kevin Deneen with it for Philadelphia. Quickly up to Rod Brindamore. He's got Semenoff on the left wing. Karpatsev with Semenoff to it, but puts it right on the stick of Deneen. Tries to center in front. Brindamore whacks at it. Deneen gets a piece, and the Rangers recover. Larmer behind his own net. Leaves it for Kevin Lowe. Rangers wait and dump it in towards Roussel. Sticks it to the corner. And a whistle by Kevin Collins. Stopping play with 11:41 to go in the period as the net is knocked off the pegs.
Yeah, Eric Desjardins went in behind his goaltender, Dominic Roussel. Eric Desjardins, meanwhile, I mean, he's probably not getting nearly enough credit for what has transpired. You saw right there, Peter Nedved tailed off to his left, and Desjardins just went straight ahead, kind of caught himself in a little bit of a rut. Peter Nedved, in the meantime, for the Rangers, after coming over from the St. Louis Blues as part of compensation for Mike Keenan leaving the New York Rangers and heading over to St. Louis. Nedved at the beginning was a bit of a disappointment. He's starting to get it going just a little bit. He only has 4 goals, but he's third on the Rangers with 72 shots on goal. So he's starting to make a mark that way, and he's also got 4 points in his last 2 games. So they're hoping Peter Nedved snaps out of his offensive slump and gets things going here.
Play back on about midway through the first period. Madison Square Garden, New York. NHL action on the news tonight with Darren Tang. I'm Tom Mees, and the Philadelphia Flyers with 2 power play goals and an even strength marker lead the Rangers 3-0. Larmer behind his own net, leaves it for Karpatsev. Here's Eddie Olczyk with it. Over to Nedved. Nedved tries to center. Roussel saw the play, and he covered up. I stand corrected. That is Brian Noonan out there, not Olczyk. Eddie Olczyk is a scratch guy. Noonan, number 16. New York. Scramble for it in front of the Philadelphia bench. Rangers shoot it in the corner. Roussel plays it around the boards. Stopped there by Sergei Demchinov, but back comes Philadelphia. Off to Mayo. Rare shit for him. Put it backhand on goal, but easily controlled, and the Rangers step in. Manteau tries to get around Terrien. Can't do it.
Good defensive play by Terrien, just sticking with his man Manteau and knocking him off the puck.
stick of Joey Koser. The late offside is waved off. Yuskevich with it at center. Bumps into Terrian after he dumped it in backhand of the New York zone. Teammates bumping each other off there. Four-man scrum for possession. And finally, Koharski says that puck is frozen and stops play.
You know, Brian Leetch has had a bit of a slow start so far this year. In 26 games, 15 points. In the past, he's averaged 1 point per game, and that's tailed off a lot this year. But probably one of the biggest reasons is that shoulder injury that he sustained in '92 in a game at St. Louis. And he had some slight, we were talking about this earlier, Tommy, he had some slight paralysis even in that shoulder. And last year, with all the practice time you get, you're able to rehab that shoulder and get some strength back into it. And you know, this year, because of the fact you're playing every 2.2 days, you just don't have the time to spend on it and rehab it and strengthen up. And for that reason, Leetch's shot has been mostly ineffective, he admits. And of course, don't forget Zubov's out of the lineup as well with that broken wrist. So that's another big part of it for the New York Rangers.
Rangers Leetch with only 2 goals so far this season to go with his 13 assists. So his point production is definitely down from last season. Here's Desjardins at center for Philadelphia. Eric Desjardins backhands it to the corner. Featherstone back for New York. Mark Osborne. Rare shift for him here in the first period. Wells can't control at center. And a penalty being called here against Philadelphia by Don Koharski. And Eric Lindros is the guilty party as he heads to the box.
Lindros going to get called for slashing. And the fans acknowledge the fact that Eric is heading in through the neutral zone. Lindros getting his hand, and it's a good call by the official. Clearly wasn't wood on wood. It caught the hand of Jay Wells. So Lindros going, you know, a lot of times, you know, you complain that the referees aren't calling a lot of things like the holding the stick and those kind of infractions. In this play, in hockey, generally, there are a lot of times when Lindros can get, every player in the league can get away with a slash like that, but it looked to me like he was just so far away from the play. It's sort of, and he's got a long stick. He's a big guy as it is, and it just looked a little bit too obvious. And I think Koharski as well, seeing the fact that the Philadelphia Flyers, they've had a couple of power plays in this game on the road, and hey, time to let the Rangers have a kick at it. So the Rangers will go on their first power play, and it has been struggling. 2 for the last 20.
Eric's brother Brett took a similar penalty last night in Hartford. Really cost the Islanders. He got a 5 in a game, and Hartford scored 3 goals on a major penalty situation. But here it's just a 2-minute minor to Philadelphia's Eric. Here's Leetch. Tries to hit Larmer in stride. Just too far for him. Desjardins allowed the catch up. Graves in the corner, can't control. Now gets it back to the point. Karpatsev. Messier is on also. Works on the power play. Tries to feather it for Leetch. One-timer. Goes off the toe of his stick and wide. Karpatsev with a one-timer. Hits traffic in front. As Haller doing some nice business there with Adam Graves in the slot. Haller and Messier. The 2 combatants from a few moments ago. Karpatsev at the point with Leetch. For Zubov, remember, a power play specialist out of the lineup tonight. Karpatsev one time, hits McTavish in the foot. And Craig McTavish does his job. Of course, penalty killing always been one of his specialties. Puck comes loose into the Rangers zone, and Richter leaves it for Karpatsev. And Karpatsev is hard hit there by Kevin Dineen.
Good forechecking by Dineen, putting some pressure while short-handed. That's the spunkiness of Dineen. But earlier than that, Adam Graves was just getting hammered right in front of Roussel, and the Rangers were unable to get a clear shot in from the point.
34 seconds left on the slashing minor to Eric Lindros. Rangers trailing the game 3-0. Big spot for them here. Matteau buries Yuskevich. And Kevin Lowe gets a stick up with Kevin Dineen. Jeff Bukaboom, Brind'Amour's on him. Now it's low up to Kovalev. Play is onside. Kovalev surrounded. Noonan can't catch up to the loose puck. And it winds up deep in the Rangers zone again. And this will just about do it for the Philadelphia penalty.
Make it 2 for the last 21. Ranger power play, just unable to even get it in the offensive zone and get things rolling.
Well, Leetch's production is down without Sergei Zubov in the power play lineup. That really is a telling story for New York. And here's some open ice at center for Yannick Dupre of Philadelphia. Takes the shot, save by Richter. Dupre, a rebound, knuckles on it. Fans on that shot. Kevin Lowe gathers it up, but an interference penalty has been called by Koharski on the New York Rangers. The Flyers on the power play, leading this game 3-0. Well, Alexei Kovalev is going to have a seat, Darren. 2 minutes for interference, and the Flyers get yet another power play here in the first.
Third power play. You know, when this game began, I think Philadelphia were thinking they're going to have to slow down the Rangers through the neutral zone. It's been just the opposite. These Rangers got to slow down the pesky Philadelphia Flyers, the hottest team, arguably, in the National Hockey League.
Well, the Flyers come into tonight with a 4-game winning streak. Should they prevail tonight, they're in Ottawa tomorrow night, so the implications are obvious, but still lots of things to be determined in this one. And that man, Mark Messier, is determined that his Rangers are going to stand up and be counted. He's already shown that tonight. The only other game underway. Look at that. Montreal's come from behind to take a 2-1 lead on Pittsburgh. And later on, Calgary hosting the troubled Mighty Ducks of Anaheim, and Toronto at San Jose if they can clear the water off the roads to get to the arena. Those poor people have really had a tough time, and send our best to them. Lindros wins the faceoff. Shot from the point by Galley, who's got a good one. Gets traffic in front, and the Rangers clear it down the ice. Roussel leaves it for Galley. We have played just over 13 minutes of the first period. The New York Rangers have 2 shots on goal. Messier breaks up this rush. I should say Buchholz breaks it up, and a giveaway to Graves in the slot, and a lucky thing for Roussel that Graves couldn't get good wood on it. Now it's Leclerc at center. Pulls up on Leach. Buchholz in the corner. And the puck ends up on the Ranger player bench. Kevin Collins says the faceoff will be in the New York zone, as some taping goes on the Philadelphia end of things.
Trainers do it all. That's Sudsy, trainer for the Philadelphia Flyers, and Eric Lindros. And when a guy says, hey, I need this stick taped and I need it in a hurry, your trainer's got to pull it off. Sudsy also performs some goaltending duties during practice. And he's just a little guy, but I tell you, he's a spunky guy in the net. Stops an awful lot of rubber in there.
Dave Settlemyre used to play goal in the East Coast Hockey League 2 seasons ago out of North Carolina. Nightcows goes behind his own net. Desjardins loses his stick. Fans wanted a penalty on Desjardins. They're not going to get it. Rangers turn over the puck at center. Noonan pulls up. Rangers killing off another Philadelphia power play and doing it well thus far. At center, it's Brind'Amour for the Flyers. Semenov back out to Desjardins. Floats a pass into the slot area to Dineen. And the Rangers finally clear it.
You know, Dineen put himself in a good position, sort of spinning off one of the Rangers and then trying to retrieve that pass from Desjardins, but it was just a little hot, a little high.
Dykow starts out from behind the Philadelphia net with Desjardins. Pass intended for Renberg, broken up by Wells. Loose at center, picked up by Philadelphia. Here's Renberg on the right wing. Desjardins the trailer. His shot hit the leg of Wells. The rebound saved by Richter on a cannon by Chris Therien. Flyers buzzing around that Ranger net. In front, down goes Richter. Got a piece of that one with Lindros in front. Comes back out in the slot area, but nobody home there for Philadelphia. And the teams are back to 5-a-side. Leclerc, Wells is on him. Lindros and Osborne. Lindros gets the puck to Leclerc. Saved by Richter. On a rebound, Leclerc is taken down. Lindros goes to the corner for it. Fans want a penalty on number 88. Nothing doing for now. Patrick Uline on for his first shift of the game. Number 12. Leclerc behind the net. Uline setting up. Lindros in the corner. Tries to get it to Uline. He does. It's just wide. Another setup by Lindros in front, and Leclerc is stopped, and then he's bulldogged down by Featherstone as the action heats up here in New York.
Welcome back to Madison Square Garden. Again, this big line for Philly has just dominated this opening period. That's a right-hand hook on Jay Wells, and luckily Eric Lindros doesn't get called for that one. But that sort of started all this mucking behind the net. You get these guys are so big behind the net, there doesn't leave a whole heck of a lot of room out there for the puck. But this little play from Leclerc right to Lindros. Lindros on his backhand, and again, you saw the play by Mike Richter, and I tell you, he's been peppered so far in the early going. And Lindros has admitted that he's trying to keep himself on the ice, not running around so much, picking his spots, and he certainly is doing that.
And the puck ends up over the glass into the crowd. Eric Lindros, of course, made the captain prior to this year at the tender age then of 21, has since turned 22. And the folks in Philadelphia tell us he's really growing into that job.
As I said, how big and physical. And here, from left to right, let's 6'2", 220, 6'4", 229, and 6'2", 218. The biggest line in the NHL? Yeah, no doubt about it. In every facet of the game now, they are dominating. And that's quite prevalent is what we've seen in this first period.
Well, it's the talk of the league, especially since the Leclerc trade. It happened on February 9th, and the city where they talk about that trade most often, of course, is where we'll be Saturday, Montreal.
The key to it, too, is in Montreal, Leclerc was being used a lot as a centerman, an unnatural position for the big fella. Now he's on the left wing and feeling very comfortable.
Play on down the Philadelphia zone. Rangers trying to get something started, but Brind'Amour clears it. Kevin Lowe beats Kevin Nadine to it. Nadine at center, off his stick. Recovers and knocks it into the Ranger zone for Lowe. 3.5 minutes to go here in the first period. 3-0 Philadelphia. Pile up in front of the penalty box, and Kevin Collins says, let's have a face-off. And let's remind you the National Hockey Night returns to your screen Sunday. They'll be on the West Coast at the Pond at Anaheim. Paul Kariya, candidate for the Calder Trophy this year, taking on Brett Hull and the St. Louis Blues. The Blues 14-8-1. The Ducks, frankly, they're struggling. They need this game bad if they ever hope to get back into the playoff chase. It'll come your way, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific.
The New York Rangers have not responded, I think, like Mark Messier had hoped for when he fought Kevin Haller after the Philadelphia Flyers had taken a 3-0 lead. From that point, though, the only positive is they've had a couple of shots on Dominic Roussel, but none of the variety of real testers.
Here's Peter Nedved flying up the right wing for the Rangers. He overskates it, though, and it's taken away there by Sean Podine to knock back to center. Nedved has started to come on of late here in New York. Dykhouse behind the Flyer net. McTavish clears to center. Back in the Philly zone for Galley. Play at center goes awry. Paying the price there was Patrick Uline. He ran into both Wells and Mateau. Podine tries to clear. Can't do it. Shot in on Roussel. Handled that time. Lukablum took it from the point. Another shot, this time a lot closer. Roussel stands his ground. And sticks and tempers rise in front of the Philadelphia netminder.
Well, Nedved had a couple of real good scoring chances, and for the first time in this game, the Rangers have had something that resembles a little bit of offense inside the blue line. And the first shot was stopped, and second shot was stopped as well. Here's a nice pass, Mateau, right on the tape, but the rebound's also there. And surprisingly enough, Nedved was able to get his stick on the rebound, and Roussel nearly opened up the 5-hole, but he quickly got that right leg back in and shut her down. And in that situation, it looks like one of the Philadelphia Flyers, Carl Dykhouse, is going to go off. Now, he had Kovalev, amongst others, for the New York Rangers. And so now the Rangers will get a chance on the power play to look at it in the high slot. Number 24. There's the shot on Kovalev. And right off the bat, you see Koharski in the left in the center. He made the call.
Well, a chance for the Rangers, Darren, to get back in this game statistically. Emotionally, I think they're back, but they got to put a puck in the net here late in the first period, trailing by 3. Rumpling the call on Dykhouse. The power play unit, you've got Graves and Larmer and Messier along with Leach and Brian Noonan. Here's Messier setting up in front. Leach deflected it wide. Larmer behind the net. Tries to hit Messier, but doesn't connect, and Richter will have to start the play over. Noonan has it taken away momentarily by Brind'Amour. Now Noonan back with it. Noonan up to Larmer. Messier looking to center, sends behind the net. Larmer and Brind'Amour with a big collision along the right wing boards. Here's Noonan on a one-timer, but McTavish had him tied up. Puck in the air. McTavish clears it to center.
Big hit, Brind'Amour hammering the veteran Steve Larmer on the far boards.
Here's Adam Graves. Off the board pass to Messier, looking to center in front. Desjardins almost knocked it in his own net. Trying to bank that one in off the other team's defenseman.
I thought that didn't sneak by. Graves was right there as well. Thought Messier might have been looking for him. That little heel-to-toe pass, a little feather pass over a couple of sticks. But nonetheless, regardless of what it went off, it just nearly snuck by the right side of Roussel.
Here's Nedved. Nedved cruises in. Back pass. Kovalev to the backhand. Just wide. Roussel was down. Kovalev missed the net. Behind the net now. Kovalev looking. 30 seconds left in the power play. Roussel makes the save, and he covers it up in the crease area. Colin Campbell's face tells it all.
My, that was a great save by Roussel with his right pad, and Peter Nedved really hung around long enough in the slot and finally circled out. Nedved's going to come around. Kovalev doing some work behind the net. And here's Nedved right there to your left of your screen, and he got it. Man, that was going right into the open side of the net, and he didn't get enough mustard on it. He was also tied up right there by Dupré, it looked like, and so he couldn't get a full head of steam on that shot, and Yannick Dupré did a nice job of getting a hold of the stick on Nedved. And here, oh boy, here's Graves coming into the corner. There's Brindamore, and there's Larmer, sort of a trip-up sort of play. Larms goes head over heels over there, but Brindamore, very aggressive penalty killing unit. This is a huge kill for Philly, but for the New York Rangers, they sure could use that momentum going into the locker room.
The Rangers at one time were trailing 6-0 on the shots on goal scoreboard. You can see it's a lot closer. Leach from the point, hits traffic, goes to Kovalev in the corner. 18 seconds left and counting on a penalty. The Dyke House of Philadelphia. Karpatsev with a one-timer off the stick of Noonan, ends up over the glass into the crowd with 9 seconds to go on the Philadelphia penalty. Alexander Karpatsev getting a lot of time tonight with Zubov out of that lineup.
Brian Leach just 15 points on the year. Tommy, 11 of them, though, have come on the power play. Just 4 points for Leach at even strength. One of the troubles we just saw right there was firing that hard one from the point on the power play. We'd normally see a lot of velocity and great accuracy on that shot.
Well, Leach has had his troubles this year, Darren, but he still leads the Rangers in power play points and assists. 11 points, 10 of those are assists. Only one power play goal, though, this year for Brian Leach. Noonan is tripped up by Renberg. No penalty called. The penalty to Philadelphia is over. Shot save Richter. Desjardins on the rebound, and Karpatsev has to clear out of harm's way. Wow.
That puck is just following that line. I mean, there's Velcro on the puck and on the end of your tape. I mean, it's been quite magical when they get things going.
Again, the Blues start to cascade down from the stands here at Madison Square Garden as Eric Lindros and the Flyers skate to the locker room with a 3-0 lead. After the first 20 minutes, it has been primarily Philadelphia's game. Welcome back live to Madison Square Garden in New York, where the Philadelphia Flyers took exactly 4 minutes and 20 seconds to establish their 3-0 lead, and that's the score at the end of the first period. Tom Mees and Darren Pang back with you. And Darren, if the folks out there believe in truth in advertising, and I know you do, you've come to the right place, because we told you about that big Philadelphia line, and they certainly proved themselves in the first period.
Well, I didn't notice them doing a heck of a lot out there in that first period. Yeah, of course, they certainly were. I mean, Lindros had a goal and one helper, but I think this starts right here, the transition game and the speed of the Philadelphia Flyers. Look at how much room is in the neutral zone for the Flyers. Then Lindros makes a pretty good play. A nice little pick by Leclerc. That backhand pass is perfect. Where the heck did Renberg come with? And where are the New York Rangers? But again, a great play by Eric Lindros. Then Semenov gets his 4th goal of the season. This one, it drives again from around the corner, a shot on goal. Again, where are the New York Rangers? Right in front of their goaltender, Mike Richter, and Semenov has his 4th. Haller received an assist on that goal. To make it 3-0 now, Lindros scores his 13th goal. Again, Renberg, a cross-ice pass right on the tape, short little backswing, bang, right past the stick side of Mike Richter. Those were 3 consecutive shots, and those goals were scored in 1 minute and 20 seconds. So after that, what do you do if you're on the white team? Well, if you're Mark Messier, you get things going. This fight with Kevin Haller, his first maybe possibly as a Broad Street bully, Broad Street blue shirt, I should say. One thing to keep a note about Mark Messier, last year when Haller was playing for Montreal, he had a wicked slash, and that might have been payback time for Mark Messier.
Well, the Rangers got to get back into it, and time's a wasting. 3-0 Philadelphia after 1. Set for the second period of play here from New York. Let's quickly take a gander at the stats through the first 20 minutes of play. The Rangers caught up on the shots on goal category, but didn't put any of their shots in the net.
Well, when you score on 3 consecutive shots in 1 minute and 20 seconds, you can really get things rolling. And that was the biggest part for the Philadelphia Flyers, clearly, in that opening period. I say Broad Street blue shirts or Broadway
You said Broad
blue.
Street Bullies. That's 20 years ago.
A bunch of guys in the white jerseys and a bunch of guys in the orange jerseys.
Flyers have been going for the Lady Byng Trophy this year, Darren.
Yes, they are one of the least penalized teams in the NHL.
Absolutely.
Well, what makes it worse is I was talking about the Rangers.
There's a turnover in the Rangers zone, but Patrick Ewing couldn't control it for Philadelphia, and McTavish is caught in the zone. Offside as Desjardins carries back in.
Well, the New York Rangers, if they're going to have to do something better in the second period, that is take away, in between the two blue lines, take away that neutral zone. They really left the Philadelphia Flyers, and in particular the Vegas line, a lot of room to make cross-ice passes, and because of that, the Flyers were able to score 2 goals because of good heads-up cross-ice passes.
Face-off just outside the Ranger zone. After the offsides, and Lindros wins it. Yushkevich has his pocket picked at center. Koster almost in one-on-one in the Philadelphia zone, but it's taken back for the Flyers, and here's Leclerc to Lindros. Quick shot. Hits traffic in front, never gets through to Richter. Now behind the net, Vukovic screens off Leclerc, gets it up to the Rangers' Sergei Nemchinov. Matteau with a quick wrist shot. Saved by Dominic Roussel. It's Joey Koster centering in front. Can't reach connections with Nemchinov. Lindros circles back behind his own goal. Bumps it to center. Vukovic gets there before Leclerc. Nedved breaks up the clearing attempt at the blue line inadvertently, and the Rangers have to go back and control again. There's Larmer. Vans on an entry pass, ended up on the stick of Galley, and Wells got his right arm up in time to knock down Semenoff cleanly. Fans love that. Jay Wells could give a good hit now and then. Here's Glenn Featherstone to drive. Stick to the corner by Roussel, and the Flyers clear it. Featherstone deep in his own end. Coming over from the Boston Bruins in the offseason. Flyers trying to steal the puck, and Koharski will call a tripping penalty on the New York Rangers. 2 minutes and 7 seconds in, and Peter Nedved is complaining as he skates to the box.
Well, that's not exactly what the New York Rangers needed. That's for sure. Deep inside their own zone, a tripping call on Nedved. But Philadelphia now with their 4th power play, they're already 2 for 3. And there's Nedved. Yeah, clearly he's got the hook of the blade right over Rod Brind'Amour. Brind'Amour goes down, and it's a good call by the official. Untimely one for Colin Campbell, though, in the New York Rangers. A big part of this game has been the power play success of Philadelphia and how it's improved since that trade. It's remarkable.
Flyers set up now. Desjardins and Tykhaus on the points. You got Kevin Dineen out there for Philadelphia to open it up. Dineen to the right of the goal. Richter just got there in time. Here's Semenoff winding up. Hits the skate of a defender and ends up into the crowd for a face-off.
If I'm not mistaken, Tom, that's one of those rarities. I believe that hit both posts. Short side, Kevin Dineen, a right-hand shot, takes it on the one-timer. I may be wrong, but here's the pass. Perfect pass right on the tape. Now this one looks like it's going to hit the short side post. Then to the, then to the far side, and then ricochets off the far post, and then goes innocently enough. Post, post, post. And you know what? Not even a shot on goal. How do you like that, folks? So Mike Richter and the Rangers get a bit of a break. That's a long way to go for a goaltender. I mean, Richter's way out on his left side, and that pass was right on the tape to Dineen. And Richter, it's tough. I tell you, it's tough. When you're challenging one shooter, you got to come all the way across the other way. Very difficult move.
Semenoff sends it in behind the Ranger net. 3-0 Philadelphia early on here in the second period. Flyers still on the power play for the next 1 minute and 30 seconds. Philadelphia trying to set up in the Ranger zone. Messier, though, does yeoman work and clears it to center. There's Jardin back there for Philadelphia. Dineen gives it right away to Messier. He's in alone. Scores! The old shorthanded goal by the Ranger captain, and he'll have that one courtesy of a Kevin Dineen giveaway in the Flyer zone.
Mark Messier has always been a very solid penalty killer. Dineen trying to go back to his own zone, as you said, for the breakout. And there's Messier anticipating the play, and he does this better than no other player in the NHL. Bringing it from his forehand, a little bit to the backhand, and then going through the legs. Every goaltender is going to separate his legs, open up the 5-hole. And even going back to his Edmonton days, Mark Messier and those guys, tell you, they always like to go through the legs. His 11th goal. And Messier this year has all 3 New York Rangers short-handed goals. Couldn't have come at a better time. It puts the Rangers right back in this game.
3-1 hockey game. Messier, you know what is a mind-boggling stat? In the last decade, Darren, Messier has averaged a point a game in the last decade, and that average is the same against Philadelphia as it is against the league. He now has 55 points in 56 games against the Philadelphia Flyers. Incredible.
Remarkable, too. Philadelphia, guilty culprit while on the power play. Their power play ratio has gone up since that trade big time. Their power play went from 13% to 30%, but they've also, as you saw there on that graphic moments ago, they've also given up 6 goals while they've been on the power play, and those can really be killers. Big-time momentum killers.
That's the 3rd shorthanded goal of the season, by the way, for Mark Messier. And we'll see if that jump starts the New York Rangers. Philadelphia still in command by 2. Comes loose to center for Lindros. And the fans getting back into it now, too, here at Madison Square Garden. Rangers lead the Flyers by 2 points in the standings. In the Atlantic Division of the NHL. Here's a penalty on Philadelphia. Yushkevich, he and Noonan went behind the Flyer net. And Yushkevich comes out on the short end. 2-minute penalty.
Yeah, Lindros went right over to Yushkevich as well. Yushkevich wanted to have a word with the referee, Don Koharski, and Lindros, their young 22-year-old captain, went right over and said, hey, nothing stupid right now. We've already got ourselves 4-on-4 hockey for the next 34 seconds. Now, Brian Noonan's going to come in the zone right there, and you see him behind the net, and the stick by Yushkevich just accidentally got up there a little bit. Real harmless play, and there's Lindros right there. All right, partner. Nothing more than that right now. Let's just kill it off.
Maturity shown at a very young age by Lindros, and Terry Murray saying, wait a minute, I had a power play. They score against my power play, and now I lose that. We're even up at 4.
A stinker, isn't it? Funny things happen in this game.
This is a tough room.
But now we see the Madison Square Garden and the atmosphere here trying to pick up a little bit, trying to rally around the white shirt troops that haven't been that good in this hockey game.
Well, the Flyers in their last 17 trips here to Madison Square Garden have pleased these fans because they've only beaten the Rangers once in their last 17 coming in. And now Koharski's in front of the Flyer bench, and he and Murray are having a debate. We know who's going to win it.
Well, Galley was over there, Gary Galley, talking with Terry Murray, and they were sort of delaying the face-off, and Koharski had come right over saying, let's get this play moving.
Well, the Rangers will send out Messier along with Bukaboom. Adam Graves is out there with Kevin Lowe. That's their quartet. The Flyers have Semenoff, Brindamore, Gary Galley, and Michael Renberg.
And actually, Steve Larmer is going to play on the left side with Messier.
That's right,
instead of Graves. Yeah, I mean, that's usually interact, those two guys, that's for sure. They both see an awful lot of time with Messier.
Messier wins the faceoff, but it comes back to the stick of Renberg, who clears the center. Lowe loses his helmet at center, courtesy of Michael Renberg. Galley with it for Philadelphia. 20 seconds. The Rangers will have a power play. Bukaboom touches up, icing on the Flyers, and the Rangers get what they want, a 4-on-4 situation. A power play in 12 seconds, and Terry Murray's team will have the face-off in his zone. 16:05 to go in the second. 3-1 Flyers.
Attention cable viewers, this is a hockey update. Montreal and Pittsburgh, second period. Montreal's up 3-2. The puck's in the air. Swing. Mike Keane, who needs replacing the baseball? That's a good cut.
Yeah, I guess so.
Somebody's got to play baseball.
Yeah, who are those guys anyway at spring training? I don't understand it. All right, the teams now have the Rangers on the power play situation, 5-on-4 as Nedved is out of the box. And the Rangers have 1:10 to go on the man advantage as Philadelphia kills it off. McTavish skates into the Rangers zone, almost set up Brindamore, who had squeezed behind the defense. Back come the Rangers the other way. Brian Leach, he pulls up. His centering pass for Graves, intercepted by McTavish, and the Flyers are able to clear.
Great read by McTavish, who played, of course, last year in the Stanley Cup champion New York Rangers. Read that pass all the way from Leach going across the Graves, and an easy interception for the Flyers.
Messier out of his own zone to Leach at center. Noonan. Leach dumps it into the corner, now behind the Flyer net. And dribbles back all the way to the Rangers zone with 28 seconds left on the penalty to Dmitry Yushkevich. Here's Messier at center. Quickly up to Graves. Terrien breaks that play up. Now it's down to Kovalev. Takes the short side shot. He's wide and high of the mark. Dribbles to center, and only 10 seconds left on the Ranger power play. Kevin Lowe onside. Nedved. That heel-to-toe shot, but it's well off the mark. And out of the box is Yushkevich. Teams are 5 aside as Lindros steams into the zone. Yuskevich's shot is wide stick side. Desjardins pitches in from the right point. And now it's Nedved for New York. Nedved bodied off the puck. Renberg has it. Along the boards to Leclerc in the corner. John Leclerc looks to set up. Renberg with a shot and a big save. Richter. Oh, that was a great play and a greater save by Richter. Kovalev now barrels into the Flyer zone. 3-1 Philadelphia as Kovalev is taken down by Terrien. No penalty called there by Koharski. Got from the point by Karpatsev. Kovalev goes down again with the aid of Terrien. Rangers managed to keep it in the Flyer zone momentarily. Leclerc clears it to center. Jumble there at the blue line. And a pass for Lindros picked up by Karpatsev. Nice pass for Kovalev, shot, and it's wide of the goal. Roussel reacted like he was shot down, but it was off the mark. Here's Leclerc, the trailer, and the pass from Lindros. It's traffic in front. Play starting to open up a bit now. Galley to Renberg in the slot. Renberg tries to hit Leclerc, who's cross-checked down on the ice. Now it's Stefan Matteau. Pass for Koser goes awry, and Yushkevich clears the center. Pace picking up there.
Yeah, good end-to-end action here. Really the best of the game so far. Pretty good chance on both sides.
Here's Matteau faking the shot. The pass to save Roussel. Koser with a shot. He was the trailer on the play. Nemchinov bodied off by Renberg. Still gets it down to Koser. Matteau with a nice setup. Took a hard check behind the Philadelphia net. Here comes Anatoly Semenov for the Flyers. Semenov on the left wing, and the crowd begins to roar for their hometown Rangers. Shot by Gary Galley is wide. Matteau clears the center, but Galley is there. Here's Kevin Dineen for Philadelphia. Larmer ties up his stick. Dineen still gets the puck to Semenov. Oh, back to Dineen, just wide. Dineen looks to center it for Brindamore in the slot. Kevin Dineen, a little bit of a pest for New York on this shift.
Dineen just missed on that play. Just rolled off the end of his stick. Otherwise, he had Mike Richter.
Dykhouse, an entry pass for the Flyers, and Philly gets a line change. Messier goes back in the Ranger end. Ranger captain with a head of steam. He'll dump. Pull on to Roussel. Dykhouse is there. Messier trying to break up that clearing attempt. Couldn't do it. McTavish quickly. The shot by Podine, and the rebound is controlled by the goaltender Richter as sticks and tempers rise as the linesman and the referee blow the play dead. It's 3-1 Philadelphia. Who's going to win the Art Ross Trophy? The Miller Lite Ice League leaders for points. Jaromir Jagr has got a goal tonight for Pittsburgh. Eric Lindros wanted a helper, as Darren would say. Alexei Shamnov having a good year for Winnipeg. Joe Sakic, Teemu Selanne, and Ron Francis keeps rolling on like Old Man River.
And there's a look at Lindros. 11.5 minutes. 3 shots, pair of points. That's a goal and 1 assist on that quick little half-cocked sort of no big wind-up there, but he scored a goal on Richter in that first period. And wow, I mean, let's face it, that Art Ross Trophy, I mean, Wayne Gretzky and Fedorov had a bit of a battle last year, but in the past it's been Lemieux or Gretzky. And now without those two players, and of course Lemieux not playing, but Gretzky not having the typical Gretzky-like year, it's a heck of a battle.
Jaromir Jagr currently in the lead. Play on down the Philadelphia zone. With it for the Flyers is Yannick Dupre. We saw him earlier in the year during the lockdown with the Hershey Bears, getting some decent ice time. For the Flyers tonight. And a big hit on Desjardins by the New York Rangers. Wow, Desjardins just standing in front of his own bench. Really got nailed there by
Langdon, I believe.
Langdon, yeah. There's Langdon on for his first shift tonight. He's a physical type player. That is how he makes his living. Here's Dupre in center. Langdon trying to start something now with Desjardins. He leaves the ice. Harpensen will skate to center for New York. Larmer hit by his own teammate Nedved. Puck comes behind the Philly goal for Roussel. 3-1. Flyers lead the New York Rangers tonight on the news. Fire and ice from Madison Square Garden. Flyers dominated early. Rangers have a shorthanded goal in this period. Featherstone behind the Philadelphia net. Who's going to get there first for it? Noonan in the corner. Noonan, Featherstone, one-timer save. Roussel cannot control the rebound, and the Rangers will set up again. Nedved, his shot is badly off the mark. Alexei Kovalev, circling, shooting, stick save by Roussel. Dribbles to the right. Noonan behind the Flyer net. Rangers putting on pressure in the slot. Backhander is wide by Glenn Featherstone. Terrier just trying to clear the zone. Can't do it. Noonan controls. Rangers buzzing, score! Glenn Featherstone! Nedved can't believe it.
Well, I tell you, I think the worst part about scoring your first goal of the year is how you get hammered by your teammates after in celebration. But the New York Rangers deserved every bit of that. With great penetration, a great shift. Featherstone actually had a good shot just before that and was nullified by Roussel. But again, Nedved keeping the puck in. Brian Noonan doing an excellent job. He has played well for the Rangers in the past. And here's Nedved with the pass right on the tape. And Featherstone, okay. So he's not known as a goal scorer. Look at Roussel inside the paint. Not out challenging, and that beats him cleanly over the glove side. A great shot by Featherstone, his first goal in, yes, 47 games.
You know, Featherstone was getting so little playing time here in New York. He played the other night for the first time in about 15 games. Asked the Ranger announcers to mention his name to his friends, but no, he's alive and well.
Good sense of humor on Featherstone. A well-liked player on the New York Rangers.
So Featherstone's first in a millennium makes it 3-2 Philadelphia.
Well, his shooting percentage is up, too, because entering this game, he only had 2 shots on goal.
All right, the Rangers into this one now. Back comes Philadelphia, Ron Brindamore, and that big line for the Flyers has not been very much in evidence in the first half of the second period. Lykows dumps it in to the right of Richter. Lindros couldn't control it. Harpensen. Larmer now. Lindros on him. Gives it up to Lowe. Harpensen at center. Lines up. Roussel saw it all the way. Made the routine catch. And Galley slashes it at Adam Graves. No penalty there. And a penalty coming up here. A hooking call on Philadelphia. And the Rangers, trailing by a goal, will go to the power play. And it's getting interesting here at Madison Square Garden.
At one point in this hockey game, the Rangers trailed 3-0. Now they're back. Nedved right on the tape to defenseman Featherstone, right up under the crossbar. And here's A real change in this game as well. The penalty, I don't think this hook could haul down my 4.5-year-old boy Tyler, but nonetheless, that's the call. And the Rangers have got themselves their 4th power play of the game and a chance to tie up this game. And they have really changed momentum in the second period.
Rangers power play. Noonan sets up. Pass over to Kovalev with 8:09 to go in the period. Big chance for the Rangers. Kovalev's shot is a save by Roussel, who sweeps that glove as if to say, in your face, to Stefan Matteau.
A lot happening in front. Matteau's doing a nice job in front of the net trying to cause a screen. Roussel might have peeked around to his left inside, and then he had to make a pretty quick maneuver with the left paw and get a hold of that loose puck. Nedved's a little frustrated because that puck was bouncing. He never got good wood on it. He tried to take a swipe at it. That was the reason for Roussel going like that. Nedved took a swipe at it, and the shots on goal have changed dramatically here in the second period, where the Rangers have really awakened. Now they're out shooting Philadelphia 9-2.
Well, the first trip in here, the Flyers gave up 4 goals in the second period. That's really where they lost the game. They had a 3-goal cushion coming into this period, but they're being outscored 2-0 during this period tonight. And all season long, the Rangers have enjoyed great dominance in the second period of games for some reason. Flyers clear it.
We'll test out the stamina now of Dominic Roussel, who is felt by an inner ear infection as a result of a virus, and he had to go down to Hershey to get some conditioning. It's a tough time for the goaltender.
Pass to Stefan Matteau. Matteau back to Leach. Leach was pitching in rather low for him, but now gets it over to Noonan. Ryan Leach winds up the stick of McTavish. Boy, what a great penalty killer he's been over the years. Always in the right position. Lindros, fragging time, back pass to McTavish. McTavish and Noonan will try and tie it up in front of the Flyer bench, and they do so with 1:03 to go on the Flyer penalty. Let's check in with Kenny Mayne. Kenny?
Tommy, we're here to inform you. Pittsburgh and Montreal. Pittsburgh going at it here. Jaromir Jagr, all the fancy move on Brian Fogarty. Shoots, he scores. That's his 19th. He may lose the game, but his stats are good.
Yeah, and he loves those stats, Jagr. He's putting up enough of them. By the way, for you Glenn Featherstone fans, and Kenny is president of the Featherstone fan club, Featherstone in his career now has 13 goals and 645 penalty minutes.
What are you trying to say, Tom?
He is a physical player. He is one of the guys you love to have in the locker room.
You know what? It's a good story for Featherstone because he's just been felt by so many unfortunate injuries, and now he's got an opportunity. He was so patient during the time he was sat for 22 games and still said, hey, these are the defending Stanley Cup champions. What else am I going to do?
Rangers now trying to set up. Larmer carries in. 49 seconds to go on the Ranger power play. Carpets at the shot. Comes right back to him like a pinball machine, as Roussel made the save. He and Larmer playing catch. Larmer trying to set it up in front. Gets it back off the Philadelphia stick. Shoots. Hits traffic in front, and the Flyers will clear it to center. 30 seconds to go. The Flyer penalty to Brind'Amour. Messier at center ice. Larmer logging a lot of time on this power play opportunity to Graves. Quick shot, but bad save. Roussel. He looked right on the money there. Messier to Roussel's left, sends it through the crease. Carpetsev will keep it in. In 7 seconds, the teams will be even. Messier in the corner. Now at the top of the circle, takes the shot, stick beside by Roussel. Penalty is over to Brind'Amour, as Graves is shadowed by Yuskevich. Larmer through the crease. Roussel lost sight of it, but fortunately for him, ended up on a teammate's stick. Now here's Leach, skating around the defense. He scores! The New York Rangers have come back from the dead to tie this one at 3.
What a shot by Brian Leach. Carpetsev does the work in fending off Brind'Amour. In comes Leach, and this is just a brilliant shot. It can't be any better than that. There's no more room for it to go in. My goodness, Roussel on top again, and he's just beat by a water bottle knocker. Right up under the crossbar, just nipped the water bottle. You know the guy he went to right off the hop? That was Adam Graves, who just took a pounding in front of that net. Just a pounding and trying to cause havoc for Roussel, and that allowed That allowed Leach to move in from the point position.
Now Leach, who's averaged more than a point a game in his career against Philadelphia, hurts them again. For the record, our second water bottle knocker of the year. Not keeping track of those, Bang. Here's Philadelphia now. The Flyers have been skating back on their heels this whole second period. It looks like the teams have switched uniforms. Emchinov in his own zone up to Kosar. Matteau dumps into the corner. Brand new hockey game. 5:23 to go in the second. Hope you're enjoying it tonight around the nation. This is some great action. And the fans here, ever mindful of how to rub salt in the wounds of the opponents, are chanting, "We want Hextall."
You have to love these fans, huh? Not really if you're a visiting goalie. Joey Kosar throwing the weight around, but again, you were talking about the swap into the uniforms. Eric Lindros in the big line had such a great opening 20 minutes of play. Lindros with the goal and 1 assist, threw the body around. Very, very quiet ever since the fight that Mark Messier had with Haller. Now's the time for Lindros to do it. Lead by example. Throw the weight around if they're not doing it in terms of goal scoring or getting chances. He's wearing the C because he's the captain of this team, because he's the undisputed leader on and off the ice. And now would be a big time for Lindros and that line to shake something up with the New York Rangers and try to get momentum back the Flyers' way. At one point, they really had dominated this hockey game.
Face off of the Flyers zone to the right of Dominic Roussel, who had just beaten on a great shot by Brian Leach a few moments ago. Kevin Lowe controls it back of the point, skates down low to Noonan. Galley is on Hill. 5 minutes to go here in the second. We're now tied at 3. Noonan had his stick tied up. He got a shot away. Anatoly Semenov skating out of the Flyer end. Semenov stopped at the blue line. Rangers control over the stick to Kovalev. And this might be icing on the Rangers as Galley touches up. Icing it is with 4:36 to go in the second. It has been all Rangers, and we're tied at 3. All right, pop the top on those chips. Let's go with the Pringles storyline. Renberg and Lindros, 1 goal, 1 assist. The Flyers 3 goals in a minute and 20-second span of that first period. All Philly in the first. All Rangers in the second. 3 goals in 11:08. Messier is third shorthanded goal of the year. Ties for the NHL lead. And there's the missing man tonight for Philly, Ron Hextall. He's been playing in 10 straight games. He's not playing tonight, and he's not too happy about it, Darren.
Well, after the morning skate, Ron Hextall, yeah, he was very angry in the locker room when he found out that it was Dominic Roussel. And that's not a selfish thing when a goaltender does that, believe me. And I know it's hard to understand, but you bet this guy, I mean, he wants the pressure. He's coming on strong. He's playing solid, and he wanted this game. And as you said, he wanted to exercise the demons of not playing well here in New York. Even last year playing for the Islanders in the playoffs, he was dominated. Didn't play well in that one. Just wanted to play in this game.
Kevin Haller with a little wrist shot for Philadelphia from the point, and Richter hasn't had much work this period. Appeared to be a little bit surprised, but still made the save. Philadelphia's Lindros keeps it in the Ranger zone. Yannick Dupre in the slot, shot line. Lindros doing some work with Featherstone. Oh, there are 2 big bodies bumping. And the Rangers clear it to center. Matteau dumps into the corner. Eric Desjardins goes back for the Flyers. Yannick Dupre gets around Larmer. Dupre with a lot of open ice shoots, and Richter comes out to cut down the angle. And Lindros just buries someone behind the Ranger net. That was, I believe, Nemchinov. Sergei Nemchinov was buried, and now he's skating with a puck into the Flyer zone, and he skates into Roussel, who makes the save. Matteau back to Leach. Another save, Roussel lying in front. Terrian will bank it to center. Desjardins dumps in for a line change. 3.5 minutes to go in the second period. Brand new hockey game at 3. And the shots on goal flip-flopped here in the second period. Add them all up, and the Rangers have the advantage. It's like, Darren, these 2 teams changed sweaters in the first intermission. Dominance has been so different from the first period to the second. Look in the Flyers zone to the left of Roussel. Bukaboom's entry pass knocked down by Yushkevich. Kovalev Waits for his teammates in front. Oh, perfectly tapped there by Graves, but just hit the left pad of Roussel. Kovalev high over the goal. That was a great pass on the stick of Adam Graves. Messier, a turnarounder with Graves. Oh, ended up in the slot area. Roussel never saw it.
Just took a funny hop from behind the net and ended up right dead center in front of the net.
I think that surprised the Rangers as well. Kovalev top of the circle, down low to Messier. Karpatsev, stick to the backboards by Roussel, and
Oh, that puck was loose.
well, Koharski lost sight of it, and the rule is when the referee can't see it, he'll blow the whistle.
Looked like Roussel was trying to grab it, and he never got a hold of it. Great pressure by this line. Kovalev, Messier, and Adam Graves. And the tail end of it, the deflection off the stick and in front, and actually he just whiffed on it and went off the side of the net. But again, Messier, that line, Messier, Graves, and Kovalev. Kovalev and Larmer have been sort of inter-swapping the two different lines, and Colin Campbell trying to mix them up a little bit. And that line has been terrific in the latter stages of this game so far for Colin Campbell and the New York Rangers. Kovalev's been buzzing around there like a water bug, and Messier going to the net. Messier had a good chance on the short side, just couldn't get a stick on it. So you're right, Tommy. We've just seen a swapping of determined efforts in this hockey game.
Our main man, Kenny, standing by in the second intermission with scores and highlights on the Sports Smash. Kenny Mayne will do the studio honors. Darren and I will be back with second period analysis. I guess so far this period has been all New York. Goals by Messier his 11th, Featherstone his first, and Leach his third of the year. Have tied this one up at 3.
Short-handed goal by Messier, the key to this whole second period.
Absolutely.
Could have been a 4. You know what? I mean, you look at that one. Could have been 4-0. Instead, it ends up being 3-1.
Tremendous difference. Here's Nedved is onside. Shot. Saved by Roussel. Noonan ended up taking that blast. Here's Brindamore for Philadelphia. Semenoff at center. 1:20 and counting here in the first period. Or second period, excuse me. Renberg takes it away from Wells. Michael Renberg. Holler from the left point. Langdon with it for the Rangers, up to Noonan. 1 minute to go here in the second. Desjardins behind his own net, up to Lindros. Lindros cut off at the pass, and back comes Bukavu. Matteau doing some checking on Holler. Nemchinov taken down in front of the Flyer net. Going to be a penalty here, as Koharski is going to nail Philadelphia for a hooking minor. Sergei Nemchinov driving to the net.
Nemchinov just would never quit on this play. And Nemchinov not having one of his better offensive years. He had 30 goals at one point in the NHL in his rookie year. He's got great hands. And Holler trying to hold up first Matteau, and then Nemchinov right here. You see Desjardins with the hook. It's all as a result of Nemchinov just busting towards the net. A lot of guys would go behind the net. Nemchinov protecting the puck with his left leg, making sure that Desjardins couldn't get a hold of a poke check. And Desjardins' hook looked innocent enough at the time, but with Nemchinov going down, it gives once again the New York Rangers a power play. And you know, you get power plays, you work it in the offensive zone. In the first period, Philadelphia received 3 power plays because they continuously were going in the offensive zone, and it forced the New York Rangers to tire out defensively. Therefore, you glide a little bit, use your stick a little bit, and nullified. So now we're seeing a large result of the swap and power plays, result of hard work in the offensive zone.
So this power play will take up the remainder of the 38.1 seconds here in this period, and if there are no other minor penalties called, we'll bleed over into the third and give the Rangers some momentum at the end of the second and early in the third period. Face-off just outside the Flyer zone to start it. Kevin Holler gains control and dumps it down the ice for Richter. Messier at center with 22 seconds left in the period. Here's Leach down low, looking to set up back at the point to Larmer, but it's intercepted by Brindamore. He breaks out 2-on-2 with McTavish. Hook checked away. Back comes Graves at center for Messier. Trailer is Leach. Leach in the slot. The shot, save Roussel. stick of Leach, and that'll do it for the second period, just about, with 0.2 of 1 second left. And listen to this crowd.
Leach moving up in the play again. The Flyers, though, Brindamore electing to just have a soft little play to McTavish at the blue line, ends up in a good turn of events for the Rangers. And Leach, he had two options: go back to Messier or let that thing fly. And with Adam Graves in front, that was a smart choice by Leach, and a very good save by Dominic Roussel with the right pad. We talked about Leach's shoulder injury. Well, so far he's ripped a little wrist shot over the stick side, and he's got good wood on that one as well. And Brian Leach and the New York Rangers have really turned things around here in the second period.
Well, at the end of the first period, there were boos coming down from the stands here at Madison Square Garden. Now there's a standing ovation as the Rangers leave the ice, tied with the Flyers at 3. Kenny Mayne straight ahead.
Welcome back to Madison Square Garden, where this game is all tied up at 3-3. Darren Pang alongside Tom Mees. And we've got ourselves a good one here heading into the third period, where in the first period it was all Philly, second period all New York. And here's an example of what happened in the first period and why the Flyers were flying high. 4 shots, 3 shots, 1 shot, banging bodies, getting things going, getting point after point. The second period came unraveled for the Philadelphia Flyers, and of course the Rangers really got things going. 1 shot, and that came off the tape of Michael Renberg.
And play is under. Turn my mic. Play is underway here at Madison Square Garden. Early on in the third period, remember the Rangers are still on a power play. Still have 1 minute and 2 seconds left to go in that man advantage. In the box for Philadelphia is Eric Desjardins. Play to the left of Roussel. Back to Leach inside the blue line. Shot taken by Larmer. Goes wide of the stick side. Never really a threat there. And a whistle stops play some 38 seconds into the period.
Get a look and see what can happen here in the third. Good look at Eric Lindros from the bench. And this is such an important game for the Flyers. Just 2 points behind the New York Rangers for first place. They've made so many great strides this year after not making the playoffs for the past 5 years. A real pivotal year for the development and the growth of the Philadelphia Flyers.
Face off to the right of Roussel. Holler winds it behind the net. Noonan keeps it in for New York, down to Larmer. Adam Graves out there with Leach and Messier completing the power play unit. Leach at the left point. 30 seconds left on the Flyer penalty to Desjardins. McTavish breaking up the play in the zone, and the Flyers clear it to center. Yes, they do, says Kevin Collins. And the Rangers, as soon as they touch up, will be whistled for offside with 18 seconds left, and the penalty to Desjardins.
Look at Adam Graves, and he gets the luxury of standing in front of the opposition goaltender during the power play. And at one point in that second period, Adam Graves' back piece sort of slid out from behind his jersey, and he was having that fitted before the game again. Sort of like a back spinal protector that's going to eliminate as much shock. And you can see that right under the number 9, and that's built in inside of his pants and outside of his shoulder pad area. And that really helps the shock of those cross checks that you take on the lower back. And don't forget, Adam Graves had a terrible time with that back last year, right after they won the Stanley Cup.
Rangers now get ready to skate out of their own zone as the penalty expires to Desjardins. And the teams are back at 5 aside. So Philadelphia weathering the first challenge here in the third period. It'll be a challenge, I think, for Terry Murray to get his team emotionally up off the mat after a bad second period in which the Rangers clearly outplayed them. Messier at center for New York. Still up in for a change. Yuskevich goes back for Philadelphia. Quickly up to Lindros at center. Michael Renberg can't get by Jay Wells. But Lindros does his part, keeps it in the Ranger zone until Nemchinov gains control. Nemchinov trying to get around Dykhouse. Lindros ends up with it. Quickly to Dykhouse at center. Off his stick at the blue line. Larmer will sweep it into the Flyer zone. Lindros dumps in behind the Ranger net. 3-3 hockey game. 17.5 minutes left here in the third. Lindros just dumps it in front. No Flyer there to redirect.
Lindros and the Flyers there. Lindros is just dead beat. He can't even barely get to his bench in full stride. I noticed the Flyers in the first 2 periods, they really have longer shifts than what the Rangers have. Therefore, the reason for the fresher legs with the New York Rangers.
Yuskevich tries to clear off the stick of Dineen. Icing to be waved off here. Guess so. Karpatsev goes into the corner with Antoski. Antoski tried to center, but no teammate there for Philadelphia. Richter now behind his own net. Karpatsev over the stick of Lowe. Flyers pitching in. Antoski and Dineen doing some corner work. Nedved. And Lowe for the Rangers. Here's Sean Antoski looking to center. Richter doesn't know where it is. It's underneath his pad. And he does the proper thing and then scoops it up with a glove hand with 16:41 left in the period. Play on down the New York Rangers zone. Dykhouse from the point. Well, March Madness is in full swing, isn't it? The NCAA tournament tips off tomorrow around the country. At center ice now is Leach. Too far ahead for Nemchinov. Larmer tries to take a bad angle shot. Nemchinov over skates. Miguel Coaster took the bad angle shot a minute ago. Here's John LeClair. Hasn't been hurt so much since the first period. And Richter the sliding save on the LeClair backhander. Metzel at center.
The Rangers, Tom, did an excellent job of coming back in their own zone, and what began as an odd man breakout by Philly ended up being an even 3-on-3 situation.
Lindros ahead of LeClair, back to Lindros. Coaster has him tied up. That's a tough task for anyone. Holler the shot, dribbles in. And Vukaboom shoots it back out. No icing called for here as Desjardins goes back. Loose at center. Big Anton. This is DeMaio. Rob DeMaio, I should say, into the corner. Centering for McTavish, who just failed to get a stick on it. 15.5 minutes to go. Tied at 3. And a whistle for offside as the Rangers enter the Philadelphia zone.
The highest score in left wing in a single season for the New York Rangers is Adam Graves. Adam Graves with 4 goals in his last 6 games. 52 goals last year. Broke the mark by Vic Hadfield, who had 50. And he just had one heck of a great year last year. So he had some back surgery. I was talking about his back earlier with that inflamed disc. And so he's really recuperated well from that. And I'm not sure how much of it has to do with how many times you get shot in the back from cross checks and all that kind of stuff, but I'm sure some part has to do with that.
Rangers keep it in the Philadelphia zone. Messier to the left of Roussel. Backhands behind the net. Kevin Dineen clears it for Philadelphia, and Featherstone will chase. Round the boards up to Larmer. Larmer to Messier. Larmer heads for the net. Graves to the corner. Now Larmer behind the net. Pitches in. Now it's Eric Desjardins skating in front of his own goal with Adam Graves and making some problems for him. And the Flyers are fortunate the puck dribbled to center and down to the Ranger end.
Colin Campbell switching up again. Now he's put Larmer back on with Messier and Graves instead of Kovalev. And Kovalev, I tell you, had a lot of spark in that second period on that line.
Philadelphia jumped down to a 3-0 lead in the first. Haven't been heard from on the score sheet since. Lindros, as I say that, with a shot wide to the glove side. Flyers keep it in the zone. Renberg tries to control and loses his balance. Karpatsev at center to Nedved. Nedved to Kovalev. Kovalev in front, just too far ahead for Noonan. Here's Michael Renberg with a head of steam at center. Leach cuts him off. Lindros and LeClair also in there. Yuskevich tries the backhand. Here's Renberg to the slot. This shot hits traffic in front. Best sustained pressure by Philadelphia in a while. Now Leach. Oh, he undresses the defenseman Terry and just failed to get a shot away. Centering attempt goes wide. And here's Lindros back the other way. Ryan Leach has got a pep in his stride the last period and a half or so. And the Rangers will be called for icing here. No, they wave it off, or did they? Nope. The whistle blew, icing on the Rangers with 13:20 to go in a 3-3 game.
Brian Leach, last year's Conn Smythe Trophy winner, putting on an exhibition from his own zone. Brian Leach makes the defensive play right there, poke checking the puck. Now watch this play, transition game. Oh, curl drag up in their own zone, now going through the neutral zone. He follows that play up with a great little move there on Haller, or Therian, I should say, and then lets go a shot that eventually goes wide. The all-round ability of number 2, Brian Leach. Also scored a brilliant goal in the second period for the New York Rangers. Man, he just does it all. Great, just a great bit of transition work. I mean, you have to have those instincts and you have to have that skating ability. And Brian Leach has it all. He's the entire package.
Leach having one of his better games of this lockout-shortened season. Of course, had that beautiful goal in the second period to tie this game at 3. Mark Osborne, a rare shift for he, and the Rangers clears it to center momentarily. Back on the stick of Featherstone, up to Wells. Featherstone is allowed to carry to center and dump in. Roussel just closed the pillows. That shot from the center ice area almost surprised Dominic Roussel. 3-3 the score. 12:59 to go in the third.
Welcome back to Madison Square Garden. You think those long ones are easy ones to stop? Glenn Featherstone from center ice. Oh, got to get them together. And he just did that, and it's an awful feeling. You know it when they're in front of your pads and they've hit them, but when they just squeak through there's always some room in between the knees.
And Featherstone's teammates will be quick to tell you, if you let Featherstone beat you from center, look out. Wells the shot for New York. Right pad save Roussel. Anatoly Semenov. Flyers with a 3-on-2. Brind'Amour and Dineen with them. Now the Rangers catch up deep in their own zone and retake. Featherstone behind the net. Over to Wells. Wells up to center. Featherstone with Dineen. Shadowing him. Messier is onside. Flyers try and clear it. Semenov can't do it. Finally, the Flyers regain their own zone. Semenov will be allowed to pass it to center. Brind'Amour dumps in, and the Flyers will go for a change. For that matter, so do the Rangers as Lowe carries to center. Long pass intended for Kovalev, just a little bit ahead of him. Whitehouse has trouble behind his own net, and Noonan almost made him pay for it.
Behind you, behind you, behind you!
Lowe with Ulin trying to bother him in the Ranger zone. Clears the center. Galley. 3-3 hockey game. The pass to the stick of Sean Podine. Gets the shot away, and he'll draw the penalty. The pass really set that play up, and that play set up the penalty, and the Flyers will be on a power play.
Looked like the Rangers were trying to go for a line change. Kovalev had sort of swept, trying to get out of his own zone. Then he quickly realized that the Philadelphia Flyers were heading in the opposite direction. So Kovalev there had to hook up Podine. Podine has a chance with one hand, and actually Podine does a nice job of fending off that hook by Kovalev before going down. This is the first power play in 3. In the second period, there were 3 straight for the New York Rangers, and now the Philadelphia Flyers will get an opportunity. This will be their 5th power play of the game, and a huge kill for New York. Don't forget, in that second period, a big turning point in this game was while Philadelphia was on the power play, and it was Mark Messier that scored the Rangers' first goal and really changed things around in that second frame.
Lindros and Messier the face-off. The Flyers with the big line along with Yuskevich and Galley. Remember, Gary Galley at the point. He's got a heck of a shot. Always has had. Brian Leach behind his own net does his job as the Rangers win that face-off.
Tommy, it's a big shift for the big line for Philly because they really have tailed off since the first period. They just look so tired. They're playing an awful lot in this game, and especially Lindros. He doesn't seem to have that zest nor that jump in the second or the third period.
Nice poke check by Leach as Leclerc carried into the zone. That'll use up another 10 or 12 seconds as the Flyers try and regroup. And carrying it offside was John Leclerc, who begs to differ with the linesman, but it won't do any good. Face off outside the Rangers zone with 1:26 to go on the penalty to Kovalev. John LeClaire, who's loving life in Philly, isn't he?
Well, he certainly should be loving life. He's been a great addition to their hockey club, playing his natural left wing. But boy, just a little disorganized, and that stems from fatigue. When you're tired mentally, you know, you're doing the plays naturally, weaving and bobbing, and all of a sudden you're running into one another. And a good job, though, by Leach in standing up at the blue line and taking away any ice for the power play of Philly.
You know, they call LeClaire, as we took a good look at him on the bench, his nickname is Hillbilly. It's not any way to treat a kid from Vermont, calling him Hillbilly. All right, the puck comes into the Rangers zone, and Carpetzer fires it down the ice.
Interesting move, Tom, by Terry Murray. Eric Lindros double shifting on his power play. Now he's at the left point position.
Semenov up to Brindamore. Brindamore over to Dineen. Dineen over to Semenov. Yeah, it's Lindros and Desjardins on the points. Semenov cruises in. Brindamore. Leach breaks up the play but can't clear the zone. Desjardins. Lindros one-timer is wide. He let a rocket go. Dineen behind the net to Brindamore. Brindamore looking to set someone up as Leach is cutting off the shooting lane. Now Brindamore sets up Semenov, sets up Lindros, and Richter, I don't know if it hit traffic or hit him, but it's still in the Rangers zone with 30 seconds to go. Brindamore couldn't control. Lindros, a beautiful pass to Dineen. Desjardins takes the shot, save, rebound, and Richter covers up and keeps this game tied at 3.
Wow, man, some inspired penalty killing by the Rangers. You know, Noonan had lost his stick earlier, or one of the defensemen, so Noonan handed his stick off. I think it was Bukaboom. And so in that transition, then Noonan had no stick. Then Richter lost his stick as well. Richter with a ton of pressure in front of him, and he dove in. What a great play by Richter. Here's where he loses his stick. So now he's scrambling. No stick now, and he's trying to reach to his right to get the stick before the shot's being taken. You just lose your balance like that. You're just unaware of what's going on, and he finally did get his stick, and that enabled him to get back into position right there, and he made that save after it went through traffic on Brindamore. Boy, some good work by Richter, and it just goes to show you what kind of great shape Mike Richter is. He's one of the top athletes in the National Hockey League. He hits the bike after every game, and he's one of their best conditioned athletes without question.
You know what? I could see his eyes getting bigger, too, from up here when he lost his stick.
Oh, gee.
Your eyes bug out, you get all squirrely down there?
Yeah, you just don't know that feeling. Because it sort of, your balance stems from your stick and your position of your blocker. And it is a good friend of every goaltender. And there's a great look at Mike Richter. You see, he's not even huffing and puffing. You see, that's maybe another goalie I know. He'd be huffing and puffing and wheezing in there.
Who would that be?
Richter's in such great shape.
Who would that be?
Never mind, it was a long time ago.
Oh, not that long, I'll bet.
I just go show you what kind of great shape he's in.
Yeah, he is. He really is. Rangers try and clear it. Can't do so. LeClaire. 15 seconds left on this Flyer power play. Lindros comes into the boards by himself as he lost his balance. Renberg behind the net. Wells is on him. Messier doing his part. 4 seconds. Kovalev will be out of the box. Featherstone wraps it around and out. Now Messier at center. Teams are back at 5 aside. Kovalev. Graves is tied up by Lindros, and a penalty coming up to big number 88. He had to do it because Graves had him beat, cruising down the slot.
This might be a result of being on the ice for nearly 2.5 minutes. 2 straight minutes, and over that almost ended up being 3. So you come back to your own zone, you're gliding a little bit, and clearly he put the hook on Adam Graves. He had to put the hook on Adam Graves. What a great pass by Kovalev. Otherwise, Adam Graves is in all alone. Graves goes down, and Eric Lindros, that's me. That's 88, and he's got to go to the penalty box now, and he's got a helpless feeling right now in going to the penalty box and watching the New York Rangers go on the power play after the Rangers just did an excellent job, along with Mike Richter, of killing off that Philadelphia power play.
Well, the Rangers will try and get their first power play goal of the night. Terry Murray's team has killed off 5 shorthanded situations in succession tonight. Rangers 0 for 5 on their power play. They'll send out Nedved along with Noonan and Kovalev, Leach and Karpatsev, the initial power play unit. Face-off is won, and the Rangers have done a good job of that tonight. Karpatsev over to Nedved. Karpatsev one-timer, hits the stick of a Philadelphia defender, Brindamore. And Rod Brindamore clears it down the ice. McTavish is out there killing along with Brindamore, Galley, and Dmitry Yushkevich for Philadelphia. Giskevich is there. Leach keeps it in the Flyers zone. Kovalev in the corner. Galley is on him. Parkinson. Kovalev. Top of the circle. Kovalev. His shot is way high and wide.
Oh, that's just, it really is. There's a lot of options there, but that's a poor selection because everybody's leaning towards the right, and the defenseman pinches in more towards the right. And when you go high like that, obviously you see what happens. The rebound comes all the way along, and you can't keep it inside the blue line.
Puck was played by a high stick, but then was waved off by Koharski. Rangers keep it in the zone. Parkinson. His shot hits traffic in front. That must have hurt. Noonan and Giskevich go for it. Leach. Kovalev almost ends up with him. Roussel. He was dodging pucks off the stick of his own defenseman. Leach from the left point. Fakes the shot. Nedved setting up camp back to Leach. To Nedved. Behind the Flyer net. 30 seconds to go in the Ranger power play. Leach. Noonan. Shot from the slot. Is wide by Nedved. 17 seconds left in the Ranger power play. They spent all of it to Philadelphia zone. And from Leach. How did he miss an open net? Brian Leach had it right there, and it goes wide. Kovalev the shot. Hits traffic, and the Flyers finally clear it.
Leach just sneaks up on you. Now, one of the Flyers really had seen number 2 breaking in from the left point, and I don't know, Tom, how he missed redirecting that into the open side. Great heads-up play by Leach and a great pass, a wonderful pass by Kovalev.
The penalty is over. Offside call on the Rangers. 7:14 to go, and what a crackling third period we've had. Neither team, though, has yet scored.
Brian Leach already has 1 goal in this contest, and boy, he just missed scoring the go-ahead goal that just went underneath the goaltender Dominic Roussel. So while Brian Noonan was in front of the net in front of Roussel causing havoc, it's that guy right there, Brian Leach, sneaking in from his left point position. He did it as well in the first period and just barely missed. And here in the third period, nearly the go-ahead goal. See Kovalev on your left side, and on your right side there's Leach, and he actually put it across the grain, went underneath Roussel and across the other side.
And the fans, you saw it jumping up in celebration. They thought for all the world that was in.
He doesn't miss those often, and twice in this game he's just barely missed.
Under 7 minutes to play now. 3 goals for the Flyers early in the first, 3 goals for the Rangers in the second, and that's where we are. Roussel goes down, deflected to the corner to his left. Rangers keep it in. Mantel behind the net, couldn't get to it. Lindros out of the box now at center. On the tape of Michael Renberg. The big line has been silent since the first period ended. John LeClaire uses his body against Nemchinov now. Kevin Lowe behind his own net. Flyers try in vain to keep it in. Here's Stefan Matteau. Takes the shot. Roussel fights it but hangs on to it. With Matteau cruising in front. 6:16 left to go in the third as we take a look at our out-of-town scores. A wild one at the Forum. Ron Francis has just scored to bring Pittsburgh back within 2 with lots of time left there. Meanwhile, in Calgary, the Mighty Ducks, who need a win, any kind of win, lead early at Calgary.
You're right about Dominic Roussel. There's been a couple of squeakers here in the third period. The long one by Featherstone to begin the third, and then that shot off the left wing as well. There was also a couple of incidents behind the play where there was a little bit of hooking. Lindros hooking right up the gut, right up the center of the ice. No call there. And here's the shot off the wing by Stefan Matteau. And it just sneaks, sort of cuffs the goaltender right in between your elbow, your left elbow, and the side of your body, the hip area. And you have to squeeze real hard. And you sort of somehow have to get a feeling that that puck's there. Otherwise, you look quickly behind you. Make sure it's not dribbling in the net. Boy, Roussel really keeps his eyes open large, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Big beady eyes there. Good look at the concentration.
Got those saucers working. Dominic Roussel out of Hull, Quebec. Just across the river from Ottawa.
Frequented Hull many times as a youngster.
That. Rangers gather momentum in their own zone. This is Messier at center. Messier over to Leach. It's onside. Leach using his speed to get by Dykhouse, but then Leach loses his edge. And Dykhouse up the center. Brindamore. Dykhouse trailing the play, has room to shoot, but going down the block it is Boom over the glass into the crowd. 5:44 to go in the third. Let's check in with Kenny Mayne. Ken?
All right, we got it for you right here. Anaheim and Calgary. Anaheim getting on board first. Paul Correa from way out there. He shoots a win off Sheldon Kennedy's skate. Still counts as a goal, though, Tom. It's 1-0.
Hey, it's not how they get in, it's if they get into the net, and that one did. You see Anaheim, the Ducks in dire straits. They need this win tonight. They're 6 points behind both the Sharks and the Kings, and they better get going. They'll be on National Hockey Night at home Sunday night against St. Louis.
Still a heck of a battle in the Pacific Division. Calgary on top, 11-9-5 for 27 points, but Vancouver is coming up the rear there. Faceoffs won. There's a key factor in any hockey game, in any situation, in any facet of the game. But the New York Rangers have dominated in that era, and Craig McTavish, though, is a key player and a key faceoff guy for Philly.
McTavish was put out there for one reason, and he just performed, winning the faceoff. Back to Yuskevich at the point. His shot is blocked by Noonan, and Toski goes to the corner. Flyers traded Joseph Morana, gave it up to Vancouver. And Toski. Puck comes loose to center. Rangers with superior speed. Nedved is taken out of the play nicely, though, by Yulin.
Kovalev can add so much speed to any line. He's just so quick around the puck, and he makes things happen offensively. Paired with Noonan and Nedved, they've had a strong outing.
Jay Wells at center. Losing control there, the Rangers. Kovalev, fan on a pass. Flyers a good line change out of it. Ryan Noonan dumps into the Philadelphia zone. 3-3 game with under 5 minutes to play now. Noonan sweeps it into the Philadelphia zone. Yuskevich. Deneen at center. Karpatsev up to Messier. Messier to Kevin Lowe. Creative Adam Graves on the left wing. Goes to the corner with Yuskevich. This is Messier looking to center. Holler. He and Messier had it out in the first period. Graves takes Holler out of the play. Here's Karpatsev. His shot hits traffic, goes high, and never gets to the goal. Messier the rebound. Backhander also over the net. Messier controls again. Off the stick of Karpatsev. And the Flyers have it at center. John LeClair will carry in, but Kevin Lowe's got him tied up.
It's the time now, Tommy, where the big boys come on the ice, and that was a good mismatch by the Rangers. Messier's line having a good bit of success right there on that last shift.
Michael Renberg up to Lindros. Lindros and LeClair. Here's LeClair in the open. John LeClair shoots. Score! The big line is struck again in the third period, and Philadelphia regains the lead.
Breakdown by the New York Rangers, and what happened there? All of a sudden, LeClair has the blue line on in after a neat little pass by Lindros. And finally, they get something going here in the third through the neutral zone. Lindros a little bit of room after Bukaboom had pinched in, that allowing LeClair to jump in alone on the left side. And you see that Brian Leach had to come across the ice and trying to make up for that pinch-in play by Bukaboom. And then that hard, low shot right through the legs. LeClair can let her rip, and he got good wood on that one. He got everything on it. But again, the pinching by Bukaboom, though, I know they're trying to take away the speed and the play of the big line. An ill-advised time to go at Lindros, because Lindros has some pretty quick hands, and he just fed it over to LeClair.
First point of the night for John LeClair, and as you saw the graphic, 14th goal leads the Philadelphia Flyers. What a shot he let rip on Mike Richter. So the turnover late may prove costly for New York. Here's McTavish with another Ranger turnover and chops it wide. And now it's Nedved for the Rangers. Nedved onside with Kovalev. Nedved shot well wide. Back comes Philadelphia's Dykhouse.
As hard as this line's worked for the New York Rangers, they lead the game in missed shots. Kovalev's had 3 or 4 missed shots, and Nedved's had a couple himself.
Holler and Kovalev in the corner. Karpatsev keeps it in. Right on the stick of Desjardins. It's only one problem, and he wears a Flyer uniform. The Flyers will clear it to center. You could see that play developing when Lindros got it at center there, and if he could just get the puck to LeClair, he had a lot of open ice to work with.
You're right, he still had to make that little chip play. get it on the tape of Leclerc, who was circled around anticipating the pass, and that's the chemistry of these guys. They've just fed off one another, remarkably, for guys that have played so few games together.
2 minutes, 18 seconds left in this one. Time's a wasting for the Rangers. They trail it 4-3. That's Colin Campbell, head coach of the Rangers. He had a tough day Monday because he got a phone call and had to deliver the news to the veteran team equipment manager, Joe Murphy, that Joe Murphy's son, Joseph Patrick, age 28, had been killed in an auto accident 5 minutes from his home in Los Angeles. A moment of silence by the Rangers and the crowd here at the Garden in remembrance of Joseph Patrick Murphy before tonight's game. And our condolences to equipment manager Joe Murphy, and it comes from all our viewers and everybody here at ESPN. Play back on now. 2 minutes to go in this hockey game. The Flyers lead it 4-3. Rod Brindamore dumps into the corner to the left of Richter. Leach up to Graves. Graves ahead behind the Philadelphia goal. Rangers looking for a turnover. We'll watch that Ranger net if it gets later and later. Minute and 35 to go. Yuskevich comes out of the Philadelphia zone. Off the leg of Karpatsev. Nedved on the left wing. Renberg gathers with his left hand and clears it. Flyers sitting on a 1-goal lead, a minute 10, and we'll watch Richter in the Ranger net.
Tough changeup for the Rangers, too. Brian Leach, after playing a full shift, he had to go off for a breather. With such little time left on the clock. Leaching number 2 certainly on the ice, and now it's going to be an icing call on the New York Rangers on some sloppy play through the neutral zone. Now you've got to bring the puck 200 feet from their own zone, win the faceoff, and then wheel it back in the offensive zone and give yourself an opportunity for Colin Campbell and Dick Todd to his right. Big-time pressure on that club, but a good job by Dineen on the big line from the New York Rangers. Dineen doing yeoman-like work on the Messier line there in that last shift. But again, now we'll in all likelihood see a timeout by, in this situation, probably the New York Rangers. They've got to think about when they're getting Mike Richter out of the net. And yes, the New York Rangers' 5 of 10 losses have been by 1 goal. And how frustrating a game like this. Trailed 3-0 in this game at one point, came back, tied it up at 3. And then the third period, kind of either way, either and looked like the big line of Philly had no juice left in them, no gas in the tank, and all of a sudden, bang, Lindros to Leclerc, and they've got themselves a 4-3 lead.
Well, Terry Murray, if his team escapes Madison Square Garden with a win tonight, has got to relish this. It's not often, Darren, when you get a 3-goal lead on the road, and still even more rare than when you blow a 3-goal lead on the road, you end up with 2 points at the end. The Rangers so dominant late in the first and the entire second period, and really had the better the balance of play here in the third period until that goal. And reminder, Colorado to Mexico State, NIT first round hoops coming up on the Deuce right after our hockey telecast tonight. Under a minute to go, 59.1. Face off in the Ranger zone. Rangers were hot coming in, 11-5-2 in their last 18. Shot is well wide by Holler of Philadelphia. Renberg with a shot, forces Richter to make the splits. All the Flyers want to do now is keep that puck in the Ranger zone. They score, that's gravy. Want to keep Richter tied down in his net so the Rangers can't pull it. But Leach says enough of this, I'm going to carry to center. Richter starts to lead. And Richter now goes to the Ranger bench with 33 seconds left. See the time superimposed in the lower right-hand corner. And Lindros sends it lazily toward that Ranger net. Kovalev touches up, icing on Philly with 20.1 seconds left.
You know, the pressure that the Flyers had in that last, well, probably 30 to 35 seconds. Mark Messier was taking the draw to the right of Richter when he was in the net. Lindros, though, won the faceoff clean and square, and he got the puck back to the point position. And for the next 25 seconds, the New York Rangers scrambled inside their own zone and couldn't get it back. That's how important those faceoffs are. So, real good job by the big guy, number 88, Lindros, to take a look at the bench of the Philadelphia Flyers. And, you know, surprisingly enough, they've had success this year. They haven't made the playoffs for 5 years, but they're a very even-keeled team. They're not taking this, not getting too excited or too down on themselves. Keeping on even keel. Huge face-off here.
Messier and Brindamore line up for it. Kevin Collins drops it. And Brindamore covers it up with his left hand. What's going on? It comes loose, and Brindamore never left the face-off dot. And they'll do it all over again.
Could easily be a delay of game penalty there by putting your hand over the puck like that deliberately. And it's a smart play by Brindamore and puts the referee in one heck of a position, though, doesn't it? 12.8 seconds remaining. And Brindamore is going to go up against Mark Messier again. And that shut down a little bit of time off the clock.
About 8 seconds. Reminder, after NIT Hoops tonight, it's the NHL tonight. That's after basketball tonight, a little bit later than usual. All the scores, all the highlights with Bill Pito.
Brindamore wins it.
Brindamore won it, but couldn't clear the zone. Leads at the point. Sends it down low. 5 seconds to go in the game. The Rangers may have run out of time as the Flyers keep it in the corner, and that's it. John LeClair has been a hero again. Dominic Roussel solid in net. The big line dominant in the first and showed up in the third long enough to give Colin Campbell and the Rangers a 4-3 defeat.
Gritty effort by the Flyers, though, coming into a very tough building, and it would easily be lost on them after this game was tied up at 3 apiece. But I mean, the Flyers hung in there, and a big play by Lindros to LeClair, and he let that one rip late in this hockey game. That's the difference. But the big line lived up to all expectations, and they came up big for this hockey game, certainly for the Philadelphia Flyers.
Flyers have now won 5 games in a row, and they've tied the Rangers atop the Atlantic Division with 29 points. Dominic Roussel and company leave the ice with a win. We won't leave. We'll be back in a moment.